Hello and welcome to Evaluate This. I'm Andrew Fryer, and in this short screencast I'm going to have a look at multi-server management in Windows Server 2012. Mostly I'm going to be using Server Manager, which you can see here, and currently my focus is set to my local server, London 3. There's lots of hyperlinking going on here so that I can go off and look at my networking, change my domain, and I can also see a whole raft of telemetry for this particular server. The events, services, performance, and the roles and features I have installed. But that's pretty similar to what we had in Windows Server 2008 R2. What you can also see down the left hand side here is a number of other nodes under here, and that's because this particular machine, London 3, is running Hyper-V and IIS, so it creates a node for each one of those as you build up your estate of servers. But what's completely new for Windows Server 2012 is all servers. At the moment I've only got one in here, so let's add some more in. Like my domain controller and a random machine that I'm going to do some stuff with in a minute. Now, as soon as I add those in, you can see the list on the left hand side is getting longer, and you can also see that Server Manager's managed to ping these machines and find out their IP addresses. And that's all working because by default Windows Server 2012 has remote management turned on inside the domain. So now I can see that I've got ADDS down here, and that's London DC, and the same for DHCP and DNS, so it's feature aware. Also, right-clicking on any one of these servers is context-aware as well. If I right-click on Evaluate This, you'll see I get quite a short list of things that I can do to it. Right-click on a DC, and it's aware of all the features that are on there, and it's given me the opportunity to go and use those as well. I can also get to tools up here on my local machine, and this list is so long because I've installed the remote server administration tools on this machine, which you can get for Windows 8. One tip to note, by the way, is you need to make sure you've got the US English language pack installed before you apply these. So that's really useful, and as I add more and more servers in, I can do more to them, but eventually this list is going to become quite long and difficult to manage. So what I can start to do is to create groups. If I go to Manage here, there's the Create Server Group option. I can give the group a name. I'm going to call this one VDI. I'm going to find some servers that I've got in AD that all begin with RD, and I'm going to add those into this group. And as soon as I do that, you'll see that I've got a VDI group at the bottom of the screen here with those servers in. And if I highlight them all together, I can then see the sum of the events, services, performance, and so on and so forth for all of those servers. And if I look at the top dashboard view now, I also get a whole list, in this case they're all rather red, of all the different events that are going on inside my environment, including a box for my new VDI group. So this is a great way of organising your servers when you've got a lot of them into arbitrary groups and then seeing the health of those. And that's going to do a pretty good job for up to around about a combination of 100 physical and virtual servers. Because of course, if I look at all servers, some of these servers are virtual machines and some of them are physical. London 3, for example, is a physical machine, and that's why it shows up in the Hyper-V group here. London DC does as well, bizarrely, because it's got the Hyper-V feature turned on, but it's not really a Hyper-V server, and I really ought to take that out of here. So this is all pretty good, but what about older versions of Windows Server? What if you wanted to manage Windows Server 2008 R2? Well, you can do quite a lot of the things I've just shown you if you apply a knowledge base to those older versions of the operating system. And to do that, you need to download the Windows Management Framework 3. This comes in a variety of flavors depending on what architecture you're running, and whether you're running Vista / Windows Server 2008 or Windows 7 / Windows Server 2008 R2. I've already done that for one of my servers, so I'm going to add that one in as well. It's called WS 2008 R2. and now it's in my list. Now, in order to get that working, what I had to do was to go in and deliberately turn on remote management and go into the command prompt and run winrm quick config. Now I can check that it's working because I can remote desktop into it, for example. Obviously it's inside my domain. And you can see that the update that I've applied is here, and indeed we are running good old-fashioned Windows Server 2008 R2. So that's a lightning introduction to some of the things that you can do in Server Manager to manage a whole bunch of servers. If you want to try this for yourself, all you need is an evaluation edition of Windows Server 2012. There's a link at the bottom of the screen. And I've been Andrew Fryer. Thank you very much for listening.